and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
I'm Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Again, in our opinion, Bob.
It's always our opinion and it's always right, according to us, not our wives.
Right.
All right, today we're going to talk about, Brad, exercises to help heal a bulging disc versus a herniated disc. Do we have to do different things between,
Sure.
That's what we're going to discuss today. What is the difference between the two? So,
Yeah, this is kind of a technical question, actually.
It is somewhat, but I really believe that more often than not, a bulging disc is probably not even giving you trouble. It's more often the herniated discs that are giving you trouble.
Right.
The bulging discs can, but generally enough, I don't think they're bulging enough to even hit the nerves.
Right.
So let's talk about, you've got the disc, which is made up of a tough, fibrous outer lining.
The green ball, our disc looks like that, Bob?
Well, we're doing a little analogy here.
Yeah.
So a tough, fibrous outer lining, and then it's got a soft inner lining, like a toothpaste almost.
Right.
That's the nucleus pulposus. All right, so we got two vertebrae here, which you'd pull out of the back, right, Brad?
Right, exactly. So this would be like L5 and L4. It's usually the lower lumbar area that gets the injured disc.
Gets you the trouble, right. Now, normally the disc, a healthy disc like this, it gives you a little bit more height, and it helps you, the disc, the vertebrae move without giving you trouble.
So your back can flex, extend, and rotate a little bit.
But over time, if you do a lot of sitting and a lot of lifting, the back of the disc can start to wear out, and eventually what can happen is we can actually...
You got to use some real muscle on that, Bob.
You want to get the angle on
Yeah,
it?
we don't want to break our cups here, but here we have... There we
right.
have, I don't know if you're going to consider that a bulging disc.
That would be a bulging disc, because
Okay.
what happens with a herniated disc is there actually ends up being a crack in here, and some of the fluid starts coming out. That's a herniated disc.
Okay, so that...
A bulging disc is just bulges like this.
Right.
And it's not uncommon as you age to have a bulging disc. It's not uncommon as you age to have a herniated disc. They're very common, in fact, as you get up to 50s and 60s.
So, okay, because they've done MRIs on people without any symptoms. They have bulging discs, they have herniated discs without any symptoms. The body has adapted, or it has not pushed into some sensitive nerve or whatever.
Right. So Brad and I, this is how we approach it. No matter if you have a bulging disc or a herniated disc, we're going to go by symptoms.
Exactly.
We're going to treat your symptoms. What can we do to change and make your symptoms better? That is the key here.
Right.
So,
and we're going to even go into a little more detail on this, but there's some people that have not watched us yet, and let's just inform them on how we can continue.
Right. In case you haven't already, just new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on a stay healthy, fit, pain-free like this, and we upload every day.
Exactly.
So,
Bob, before we go on, I just wanted to show this little model quickly.
Yeah, why don't you go up to the...
Because this is a pretty good real-life model of a disc. Here we got the same vertebra. Is it clear, Lonnie? Okay, so we got the L5 here, L4, and the disc here. And they have a little model. This red bump right here represents a bulging or herniated disc. And then they have an actual little model of more what maybe a disc may look like. I don't know if this...
That almost looks like a herniated disc, because look, the red stuff, the nucleus pulposus, has actually extended out beyond the borders.
Right. I think this model had a healthy one here, and this was a semi-healthy. But this is probably more of the shape and the look of a real disc. And this is what I thought when they'd say you slip a disc, I thought it would stay like this and the whole thing would shift over to the right a quarter an inch, and then you get your back cracked and it would shift it back in and life would be good. It's not how it works. This model, I think, is much more realistic.
So bulging disc, herniated disc, the first thing, if you have a bulging disc, let's stop it from becoming a herniated disc.
Exactly.
So one thing you're going to first do is make sure when you're sitting, you're going to sit correctly, because a lot of times it's prolonged sitting that, quite often now back pain and herniated discs have become a problem of prolonged sitting, not lifting.
Right.
Can I have a roll towel, Brad?
You bet.
So one thing you're going to want to do is when you're sitting in your chair or in your car, you're going to want to make sure that you just want to give me one of those. That's fine.
I got a roll. We lost our rolled towel, Bob.
A lot of times what we do is we take a towel, we roll it up, and then we put tape on it. We just put duct tape on it. That way it holds in place. But you can take a rolled towel. What's nice about this is you can vary the size. With some people, especially when they're having a herniated disc or a bulging disc, oh, you found it. They want to have a larger towel I found that with people that they tend to like, and then over time, as it feels better, they go to a smaller towel.
Right.
Put it in the low back, around the belt level. You'll find out, where it feels the most comfortable, and that's going to put a little bit of arch in your back, and that's going to help prevent that bulging disc from becoming a herniated disc.
Right. A lot of car seats now, Bob, have some pretty good lumbar supports. I've had patients.
Supports,
They have my English. I've had patients that had nice lumbar supports and didn't even know it. I walk out to their car, show them how to work it, and their eyes open and say, "Wow, is this
my
nice?"
car does this?" Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So make sure that you don't already have it in place. The other thing you want to make sure is that probably limit your lifting and also lift correctly when you are going to lift.
Exactly.
This type of lifting, when you're bending the arm back like this is what helps push that disc out.
Right.
So you can even bend your knees and still lift incorrectly. See how I'm rounded out here, Brad?
Yep.
So do you want to use the stick real quick?
Sure.
Not that you have a stick in place or with you, but this will give you a good visualization. If I'm lifting correctly, there's contact points on my head,
Here.
mid-back, and low back. I'm lifting correctly now. I keep it all straight. If I'm lifting incorrectly, there's only one contact point.
Gap here. Nothing.
Even though
here.
I'm bending my knees, I'm still lifting incorrectly.
Puts much more stress on that area.
Yep, and that's going to turn your bulging disc into a herniated disc. So let's get those two things in place. Limit your sitting, as much as you can. We talked about this when we both had back pain.
Right.
Both of us didn't even sit. We would either stand or lay down.
Right.
I mean, I did that when I was in the midst of school.
I've got a friend right now. His wife is an attorney. She's sitting all the time. She got the same problem. She bought one of the computer stands that stand up so she can actually work while she stands at the computer.
Wonderful idea. Yeah, it's nice to have those available now. Do lots of walking too. Walking is really good for your back. Gets oxygen to it. Try to walk for at least 20 minutes. It's just going to be good for it.
Walking on a flat surface. I mean, if it hurts so bad you can't walk, you're not ready for it yet. But when you are, typically a flat surface, not up and down a hill or on a crowned road where you're...
Very good point, Brad. All right, so then you're going to start your exercises, which normally the treatment of choice for bulging disc or herniated disc is the McKenzie method. We have lots of videos on this. But usually what you start off with, you're going to start off in what we call a prone position on your stomach. And you might start off just by laying here a little bit. You let your back straighten out. Some people can't even lay flat like this. Sometimes they have to have a pillow underneath them to start off, Brad.
Right. As a matter of fact, should we show that, Bob, so they really get a gist of it? Or just take a pillow right about at the waistline, and that'll make it feel better, tolerable.
I've had people that had to use two pillows, and then eventually they were able to work away from that, get away from the pillows, and then eventually they could get up to this position, prone on elbows, the prone prop here. And then eventually we start putting the hands underneath the shoulders and we start doing press-ups. Can you see how that might push that bulge back in, Brad? Can you visualize that?
I can. We'll hope that our viewers can, but
it's bringing the bones together,
right?
So it's helping push that back in,
right? And we've got some other videos. If they look at that model and try and visualize that.
Now, a herniated disc, you may have to do some other things, which we are kind of some more advanced methods. But with just a bulging disc, quite often I think you can just do press-ups like this.
Sure.
So, and then eventually you want to get all the way up here. And at some point, sometimes you need to even do a little overpressure with a belt or with a rolled sheet.
Yep.
Do we want to grab a sheet?
Sure.
Okay, so you take a sheet and you're going to roll it up.
That's done very well, Bob.
Like a tornado? I didn't really do it that well. And then you're going to go ahead.
I know, but you did. You have done it well.
I've tried. And then, so you're going to go down like this, and now you're going to use your hands to actually give a little overpressure here, and now I'm going to stretch it like that.
Can you move this elbow? There you go. Try it again. So the sheet is actually locking down and putting support on the low back, and that helps push that bulge back in.
As therapists, sometimes we actually put our hands on their back and do it.
Oh yeah,
and provide the overpressure.
But don't have your spouse do that to you, your children, because they may not know what they're doing. Again, I really want to emphasize, Bob, all these techniques, you are only going to do them if it makes your back feel better. If the first time you do it, it's not so good, but you do it 2 or 3 times and it clearly is feeling better, continue. But after the second or third time, or if you've been laying on your stomach for a while and it doesn't get better, you're not ready for this yet, or you may have a different problem.
It goes back to our whole point, Brad, that we're going by symptoms, aren't we?
Exactly.
If it's making the symptoms better, it's making the pain go up your leg and into your back, it's working. If it's not, it may be making it worse, and so you got to stop.
And
So-
we've got a really nice playlist. That they're titled under sciatica because oftentimes they're related. And if you look at those, you're going to see a nice get a nice education on how to treat
I
your
will
back.
link that at the end, at the very end here, Brad. I'll put the whole playlist at the end of the video, which is coming up right now.
It's been very successful.
I'll
People
put it
are
down
very
here
happy
somewhere,
with this
so.
this playlist.
All right, thanks for watching, and remember, Brad and I can fix just about anything.
Except for that.
Broken heart.
Oh, you're going to put it up there?
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Where do you think it's going to be? All right, thanks.